Someone pull us out from the Dinner time. That's what it sounds like, right? All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. It's Tuesday Drum Day. I had some coffee, so I'm playing fast. I like playing fast. I've been doing this thing. Is that what I was doing? Yeah, something like that. Those are pretty cool. And what that is just singles. Singles like that. One E and a two. Spread them across the toms. One E and a two. So I'm starting from the floor. Starting from the snare. Floor. All right, anyway, getting too crazy fast. Good to be back. Just came back from Key West, Florida, where we did Last in Line, played a cool festival. It was in Key West, Florida, and it wasn't that warm down there. It was nice, but the day we were supposed to play, which was Sunday, it started pouring rain, and kept getting a message: "Stay in the room, stay in the room." Stage, it's just pouring, So the venue, and we was second to the first on. Does that make any sense? There was supposed to be the band Autograph, then us, and then who else? Mark Slaughter and Dokken and Dee Snider. And we kept getting a text in the room saying, "Stay in the room. Not don't come down yet because everything's wet." Then it was like, "There's a tornado warning." I'm going, what? A tornado warning? Oh, man, really? Like, now what? Pack your bag and go down to the lobby? What's going on? Well, luckily, there was no tornado. And so we finally got to go down, but it was really hectic, man. We didn't get proper sound check. They started letting the people in. I'm up there adjusting the drums. Everybody's going, "Hey, Vinny! I'm like, "What? Yeah, what? Hello? Yeah, Vinny, I saw you." And then, okay, cool. Trying to get drum sound. Yeah, so that was fun, and let me fix something here. Yeah, so we finally got to go, and you know what? This is such a great band, Last in Line. It's so much fun playing with these guys. Phil Soussan on bass, Andrew Freeman on vocal, and the guitar plays that guy from what's that guy's name? The Deaf something. Vivian Campbell. Yeah, him. So we played really good, We played, and I thought we played really good. Got the monitors good. Best thing under those circumstances, we did a quick monitor check, like snare, give me more snare, bass drum, toms. Make everything louder than you think it needs to be. This way, when you go up, it's powerful. And that worked out really well this time because the bass drum was big, So I got everything loud, and I had a good time. I thought it was great. We only played 7 songs. Flew all the way down there, and It's funny. It's such a small airport in Key West that we landed. Okay, great. This is Key West. Never been there. That's one of the few places I've never been. I've been a lot of places, but not Key West. I remember my parents went there years ago. My father was in the Coast Guard, so he was down there. And so we land, and the plane's like sitting on the tarmac, off of the tarmac, but we're looking at grass growing for like 15 minutes. Then he goes, well, we're waiting for the plane to move, the usual. Then he moves up. I go, oh, look at this grass. This is nice. And that was another 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So basically, we were on the freaking plane for an hour and 20 minutes before we could pull into the gate because there's lack of workers. All right, then we pull on. All right, let's go. We go in. Now it's starting to get dark. You don't even see the place. And then there was another hour and a half waiting for the luggage, Funny, there's one baggage claim, little tiny airport and room, and there's a big bar in the middle making margaritas and tropical drinks. And we had to wait an hour and a half to get the bags and stuff. It was just crazy, And other than that, we had a good time. It was fun. The gig went good. It's good to see some friends there. And coming home, we came home last night. And we had to fly from Key West to Dallas to Ontario. And we made it back. So the stupid thing was last weekend, we were in Florida. I was doing a rock camp back and forth to Florida. I'm in California. It's crazy. So those of you that want to get in the music business, this is what's called dedication, dedication. Like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all the way back and play this gig. And then late last night, we got back here. And then today, got to do show. Got to play good for you guys. I don't want to play shitty. So one of the things, that's about it, right? This is the new Sawtooth kit. Beautiful, beautiful finish. This is a hickory finish. It's hickory drum, 6-ply, and what a great sounding kit. I've used it live, and it kicks ass. And these are 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 drum. The bass drum's a 24 by 14. And the snare drum's a 6 by 14. I love the sound of this. The snare just kicks ass. And this snare drum has dual 45-degree bearing edges. That's why it sounds so good. It's got a nice ring. I like ring. I don't like this. I don't like that. I like ring. So, dual 45-degree bearing edges on this thing. And the hoops are die-cast chrome steel. Beautiful, strong as hell, and they hold the tuning really well too. So this is 6-ply hickory on this kit, and it's got great tones all around the spectrum: low, high, mediums, all that stuff too. So check it out, ChromaCast and Sawtooth. ChromaCast makes the hardware and the pedals. It's ChromaCast pedal. So I love playing this kit. It just sounds fantastic. And and yesterday coming home from the Ontario airport, Heavy Metal Jackie was on KLOS, and she played "Turn Up the Night" by Black Sabbath. It was like me. I went, wow. Well, that's me playing the drums on the way home. I used to hear it a lot in the 80s, but not so much now. You got to find it now. So what I want to show you today is playing a little bit more heavy in the beats. And the way to do that is with the bass drum, A good way to practice is this kind of thing. You're doing an alternate 16th notes between the bass drum and the right hand, like this. This is a good exercise right here. snare drum in on 2 and 4. That's a basic exercise for it. And then you could start getting putting those bass drums in on the beats you're playing, which is basically putting the bass drum on the end. Like that. So that's the basic exercise. Put the snare on 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. What I do what I call lead bass drum. You know, some guys are snare drum heavy. You know, the beats are like. I'm more on a bass drum heavy, which is a bit more punchy, like this. Stands in the way. So that's my kind of. Got all different places I can put the bass drum with the snare just on 2 and 4. See, the bass drum makes it really heavy. Even the fills. If I did it without the bass drum, it's not as heavy, right? But if I had the bass drum with the right hand, see? What I'm doing is starting with the right hand. With the bass drum. Double up the right hand with the bass drum. I'm righty. I'm very strong with the right hand, you know. So I like these kind of things. And a simple way to practice this, you do a triplet, one end, right, left, left. Put the foot with the right hand. Then what I do is put a right, left in front of that triplet. Right, left, right, left, left. Right, left, right, left, like a double paradiddle. Put the bass drum with the right hand. So you got the first triplet. all played linear, meaning the same, pretty much, beats. You got it. Come on. Then I do a 3. I put another right, left in front of that. So now you got all 3 of those. First one, 2, 3. Sounds good, right? Lala's here. Hello, Lala.
Hello.
Are you tired today?
I'm exhausted.
See?
Yep.
She's exhausted, but I have to play today.
Yep.
All right. So those are just some power bass drums, you know, when you do fills, you could add the bass drum, even this one. Bonzo did a lot of his stuff, and I listened to it and I went, that is cool shit, Bonzo. Yeah. See, when the setup's like this, I always have trouble on this tom because the hi-hat's right here. And I've done it before, years ago, where I just killed my wrist like this on the clutch. That's why I cut these things. The pole for the hi-hat is cut and then filed down so it's not sharp. Let's see how close that is. I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty damn close. I better stop playing. Lala's got some questions for me. Lala Lollipop.
I do.
Yeah, and send in your questions too. We're reading them live.
Yes, we are.
Okay, what's the questions?
Did you ever do any rigging for your brother when he was on tour?
Did I ever do what?
Rigging or,
Rigging?
yeah,
No.
or setting up his drums?
Get out. Who asked that question?
I don't know.
Setting up his drums.
Little-
God,
little.
give me a break. He set my drums up. No, he wouldn't do that. Once in a blue moon, we do shows together called Drum Wars, and we're going to do some coming up this year. I'll help him when we kind of rushing around with his drums a little bit, you know. But we always have techs, you know. Mark Weber, the one-man crew that Last in Line uses, unbelievable. Mark Weber, Super Mark. So now we don't, you know. When I was a kid, I said, one day, you know I made it when I don't have to set my own drums up. That was the big thing when you're like 10 years old. So I don't have to set them up. I set them up in here, but nobody could see me. This is my house. Okay, question.
Who was a little boy on stage at Rock Island Fest?
Good question. Who was the little boy at the Rock Island Fest? That's the name of the festival we played. Of course, Vinny didn't remember. Vinny Bailey knew where he was. So that was Jacob Freeman. That's Andrew Freeman's son. And he's adorable. He's a baseball player. And if you a little bit of rock history, he's the kid on the first Heavy Crown Last in Line album. He's the you see him like this from the back. That's Jacob Freeman. So, you know, he was there, and Andy grabbed him, brought him out a couple of times, and it was funny. He was laughing. We had a good time. When we play, we have a good time. So that was cool. But he didn't sing or anything. Maybe next time. We'll see what happens. Good question. Okay.
Talk about dynamics,
Dynamics.
the volume versus intensity.
Yeah. See, if you play up, and I've seen drummers do this, everything's loud. It doesn't go anywhere, But loud. Loud. Got to have dynamics. The dynamics allows the loud part to sound even louder, and even in the solo, you can be going, just cranking it up, but you come down, it sounds good. And now down in volume. That was loud. Dynamics. Whoops. See? So you got to have some dynamics. And that's why I always say when you practice things, if you learn a lick, say this lick, left, right, foot, foot. This is one pedal. Right? The first thing you want to do is get it even. You don't want the speed. You want it even and nice and steady. But I always say practice the dynamics, loud and low. Loud, everything should be loud. Low, everything should be the same level. Dynamics, very important. And if you listen to a lot of Zeppelin stuff, that's why all those songs work, because there's a lot of dynamics in them, like Ramble On. There's a part, then them drums come in. That's kind of the beat I was showing you. Bass drum on the end. That's in Ramble On. So you gotta make sure you play with dynamics. I've seen a lot of guys just play up here, and after a while, go, my God, that snare drum's annoying. He's going. I don't want to kill Lala, but it's pounding on the snare, pounding and pounding, and I go, Jesus, there's no dynamics in it, So gotta play with dynamics. Okay, next question.
What is your preference for resonant heads on your drum sets?
Resonant heads. These heads that are on here are Evans G2s, and they're just double ply clear. They sound great, Not really muffled. These two drums are muffled a little bit because I was recording with them, and they're so big. I wanted a little tighter sound. So these are G2s. On the bottom, it's the same thing. Bottom, I actually don't pay too much attention to what's on the bottom, but I do make sure it's in tune, lug to lug. These went out a little because I've been playing. See, that's flat. That's sharp. And I tune them. I know what I want to hear. The bass drum's a G's. It's an EQ3, and I take the muffler out because I don't like muffling and stuff. Snare drum is the heavyweight, and this one's wide open. A lot of ring. So that's the heads I'm using, and then on this kick, there's the front head has a little hole in it for the microphone, and it's got a great sound. This is what I like, Doesn't mean you'll like it, but that's why always experiment with your kit. Any instrument, amps, guitars, bass, whatever. I don't know so much about keyboards, but you want to dial in a sound that you like, so you keep messing with it. Don't just take it out of the box and go, well, I was tuned this way, and it's all like, that, then you can't do this. Oop, hang on. That's muffled. That, by the way, is a hard thing to do. It's a conga trick. Okay, next question.
Can you show us the bass pedal groove of I Speed at Night?
I Speed at Night. It's a Dio song, second album. So when we come in, that's what it is. Got to watch that, because if you're not warmed up good and you start playing these kind of things fast, sometimes your foot goes, "Hey, I'm not awake yet." So you don't want to strain anything, But that's the beat. It's just a basic, da 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 da. And on these things, da 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 da. That's what the guitar and the bass are playing. To jazz that up, go. Say. But I put those little things in there just to kick it in the ass a little more instead of. The first one I did. Second one. That's second one. Building throughout the song. But that's basically the beat. Next question.
Ever use rototoms?
Rototoms. Rototoms are those toms with the head on them, and back in the 80s, and you can, they can go higher in pitch while turning it and lowering it. But no, I never really used them. I played around with them, but I was with Remo drum heads years ago, but not for very long. Then I switched over to Aquarian, and Remo made the rototoms, but I never really used them. These are rototoms. Okay, next question.
Have you ever used two hi-hats?
Have I ever used two hi-hats? No. No. I'm not one of those fancy guys with the other snare drum here. I'm kind of old school. No. But who used the cross? I did. Okay, next question.
Talk about the records you recorded with Joel Hostra.
The record I recorded with Joel Hostra, well, I did both his albums, and actually I think I'm going to do the next album with him too. You know, he put songs together, he put some riffs down, he put some songs down, and then he'd send them over. We never got in the room to play together. The funny thing with that is on the second album, I played on the whole record, and we never sat in a room together, you know. We just did it via the internet like a lot of people do, and then we played a cruise ship a couple of years ago before the BP, before the pandemic, and we had to play a set, and we put 6 new songs in the set, and then some Dio, Sabbath, and whoever else was in the band who's mished it up, and we rehearsed for 2 hours. I had a cheat sheet, a book of charts, kind of cheat sheets, not charts. I couldn't read the charts that way. And it sounded great. It was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to playing on the next record, and Joe's putting some stuff together. So we'll see what happens, you know. But he's a great guitar player, melodic, and really got a great vibe and energy, you know, a lot of energy in it. So I'm looking forward to that happening. So we'll see what happens. All right, next question.
Best thing about touring again?
Best thing about touring these days is being on stage and playing for everybody. The effing traveling sucks. I mean, just getting on planes these days. And I always get the aisle seat, you know. So I sit there and I bang, boom, as they're walking down the aisle. Boom, boom, you know. So I usually sit like this until people get on the plane, you know. Lala sits in the middle seat, unfortunately. And we try to get upgraded to first class. But the traveling sucks, you know, when you're doing airplanes and stuff. I remember years ago, we didn't even think about it. We get on airplanes, even Sabbath. When I joined Sabbath in 1980, we used to fly commercial. They used to go, okay, we're leaving at 8:30. We used to leave early, too. You have to play in the arenas at night and staying up late. 8:30 leave. 8:30 in the lobby was the official thing. And 8 bags at 8, meaning they're going to knock on your door and take your bags at 8 o'clock. 8 a.m. and bring them down, and then we'd go in the limos or whatever. Back then, that's the way it was. Now it's like you take your luggage down yourself. That's why they got rolly bags. But, yeah, I used to pick up the bags and go down, 8:30, boom, hop in the car, go to the airport. And wasn't a big deal to go through security. I mean, we even have time, especially Ronnie and I, let's go eat. Go get something to eat. O'Hara Airport in Chicago, they used to have a great coffee shop. It wasn't this commercial shit that's everywhere in these airports, all this crappy food. It was like a coffee shop, a neighborhood coffee shop. We used to go there and get a cheeseburger, fries, chocolate shake, or tuna sandwich. Ronnie and I were both into tuna sandwiches, too. So it was easy, you know, and you didn't have to, you know, worry about, oh, my bag's got to go on the top. They didn't charge for luggage, so everybody's luggage was underneath. You come on with a shoulder bag, put it under the seat, and you were done, you know. Now it's like a freaking war zone to get on the plane. Got to be very proactive, which I am. Okay, next.
How low are you sitting these days at the drums?
How low? Well, I always sit low. So I'm sitting as low as this ChromaCast seat will go. And that means that the snare drum is about 2 inches above my knee. And that gives me power. If I was sitting really high up, can't get that rim. I play with rim shots all the time, you know. That was the rim. So to get that power, I'm a little bit above the snare drum, not too high. And if the snare drum's too high, I can't get the power with the rim with my arm. So I'm comfortable this way. So you should experiment how you want to sound and, you know, what's the best position to play in. So I sit kind of low. Sometimes it causes a problem. Like I got to try the new ChromaCast, the 8-inch snare. That's sitting over there, big guy. This is the other. Oops, sorry. See, look at that snare drum. It's beautiful. This is a 6-inch, and then there's an 8, I think 8.5, but I got to modify the stand so I can hit it. So otherwise it's up here. But that's a monster snare drum. So I'm going to experiment with that one and record with it and see how it sounds. So that's where I'm sitting, and that gives me a lot of power this way, you know. Let's take one more question. Okay.
How come you never used a double pedal?
I did use a double pedal. Not a double pedal. I used double bass growing up. When Carmine went to double bass, I went, maybe I should do double bass. Then I went late, and I thought, you know what? There's some double bass players out there that are way better than I am. So I'll just stick with one bass drum. So I got a fast foot. So I stayed with the single bass drum. And actually, it was funny because we just did a rock camp in Florida with Nico McBrain. And the first thing I said to him was, we are one of the few rock drummers with one bass drum and one pedal. He goes, yeah. So, yeah. If you want to fool it, cheat, you could always do something like this feel for a double bass drum feel. Like. So that's why I never went to it. So, which is good because it kept my foot fast. Sometimes with double bass, you rely on the double bass so much you don't focus on the foot. You know, different exercises and different licks that you can do. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for checking it out today, and thanks for watching. I'll be back. Am I back next week? I'm not sure. We're going to Vegas on probably no, next week I won't be here. Last in line, we're going to finish the album number 3 in Las Vegas, and so we'll be gone for about 5 or 6 days, and we're going to write a couple of new songs. I'm going to record them and finish up what we have so we can get this new album out and going, and we're going to have an EP out before that, which should be out soon, in the next couple of months, on a new record label called Ear Music, a German label. It's a fantastic label, and they're really into the band, and so we're looking forward to a good year with Last in Line. So I won't be back next week, but I'll be back the following week. So thank you, guys, and everybody be safe, and happy drumming, safe drumming.
Oh, it's Mike Carr's dad's birthday today.
It's Mike Carr's dad's birthday. We call him Dad. Happy birthday, Dad. I think he's like 22 years old now, and he just keeps rocking. Anybody know Mike Carr's dad in Ohio? He's amazing. What a great guy. And he comes to all the shows. He never tires. I tire. He doesn't tire. So happy birthday, Dad. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's in his 20s. That's cool. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, okay?